unfortunate the way they playing this little girl in her face. Same way she played in his face when she said she cooked for him and she made some white rice and spinach out of the bag and it was a sweet potato. I don't know what it was. I don't know what that meal was. After he had just eaten a full meal over at Remy's house the day before. He had spent time with her. Yeah. Claressa, I know you don't like me. That is okay. But I'm really sitting here doing you a favor. The man is not divorcing his wife. She's not divorcing him because...
Howie bikes are supposed to be ridden hot face. What if I told you that one of the most decorated, undefeated combat sports champions on the planet, a woman who literally beats people up for a living, is being played right in front of our very eyes? What if the biggest fight of Claressa Shields' life isn't happening inside the ring or the octagon, but right inside her own bank account? Y'all, grab your tea, sit down and adjust your screens, because the internet just exploded, and the receipts are so hot they're practically burning through the federal database. Tasha K just dropped a nuclear payload of government documents, tax liens, and a deleted Louis Vuitton receipt that completely shatters the fairy tale. We are talking about 13 years of unpaid federal taxes, a fake $8 million deal that is nothing more than recycled credit, and a husband who magically forgot he was still very much married to Remy Ma, while acting like a big-time music mogul. Is Claressa Shields actually getting the love and mentorship she boasts about online? Or is she the ultimate, most expensive target in a high-stakes financial scheme? The secret is officially out, the paper trail doesn't lie, and today we are tearing down every single illusion line by line, document by document. You think you know the drama? Honey, you haven't seen anything yet. Let's get into it. Hold on to your seats because what we are uncovering today isn't just standard internet gossip. This is a masterclass in psychological manipulation, financial smoke and mirrors, and straight-up legendary hustle at the highest level of celebrity pop culture. For months, everybody was looking at Claressa Shields and Papoose thinking, wow, what an unlikely power couple. You've got the self-proclaimed Joyety of women's boxing, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a multi-division world champion who literally dominates every single person put in front of her inside the ring. And then on the other side, you've got Papoose, the veteran New York rapper known for his lyrical dexterity, his signature hats, and his decades-long marriage to hip-hop royalty Remy Ma. On the surface, it looked like a match made in promotional heaven. Papoose steps in as this protective, savvy manager figure, promising to elevate her career, bag her millions, and secure her legacy beyond the realm of traditional boxing. But if you've been paying attention to the shift in the wind, you know that when something looks too good to be true in the entertainment industry, it's usually because someone is getting set up for the ultimate fall. Enter Tasha K, the internet's most controversial investigative blogger, who decided that talking points and viral Instagram clips weren't enough anymore. Tasha didn't just come to the table with rumors or anonymous tipsters in her direct messages. She brought the actual government paper trail. She brought federal tax documents, state-level liens, county clerk filings, and a paper trail that traces back over a decade of financial disaster. The picture being painted here isn't one of a mogul investing his own hard-earned wealth into a rising superstar. No, honey, the picture being painted shows a man who allegedly transformed a world-class athlete into his personal automated teller machine. And the worst part about the whole situation? Claressa seems to be the very last person to realize what is actually going on. While she is out here online defending him, fighting with critics and proudly flexing gifts and business proposals, the rest of the world is watching a textbook financial extraction take place in broad daylight. To truly understand how deep this rabbit hole goes, we have to rewind and look at the foundation of Papoose's public reputation. For years, Papoose and Remy Ma were celebrated as the ultimate hip-hop love story. They stood together through thick and thin, through prison sentences, industry politics, and personal ups and downs. They built an entire brand around loyalty, black love, and unshakable unity. But behind that carefully curated public image was a financial reality that was crumbling day by day. When you look into the public records filed under his legal government name, Willie Mackey, the illusion immediately shatters into a million pieces. We aren't talking about a simple misunderstanding with the Internal Revenue Service or a single mispayment from a bad tax year. We are talking about 13 consecutive years of unpaid federal taxes. 13 years of ignoring Uncle Sam. 1 year is an oversight, 3 years is a pattern, but 13 years is a deliberate lifestyle choice. So ask yourself this critical question. How does a man who hasn't paid his own federal taxes in over a decade suddenly become the master architect behind an $8 million sports deal for an elite fighter? Where is that money coming from? What entity in their right mind is handing millions of dollars in liquid capital to someone whose legal name triggers immediate red flags across every major financial institution in the country? The answer, as revealed by these leaked documents, is simple and terrifying. It isn't real cash. The famed $8 million deal that has been flexed all over social media isn't a massive pile of liquid capital sitting in a high-yield account. It is structured credit lines of debt that require massive collateral, future earnings pledges, and high-risk payback structures. In simpler terms, it's a high-stakes gamble where Claressa puts up her body, her sweat, her blood, and her future fight purses as the collateral, while the people managing the contract take their fees upfront off the top. When you analyze the timeline of events leading up to this sudden manager-client dynamic, the red flags pop up like fireworks. Remember when Remy Ma went on social media and openly aired out their personal laundry? Remy claimed that Papoose was broke, that he wasn't contributing to the household bills, and that he literally took her personal jewelry to a local pawn shop just to secure quick cash flow. People thought it was just bitter marital fighting at the time. They thought it was just angry back and forth banter between two legendary artists going through a rough patch. But when Tasha K pulled up the actual pawn shop receipts matching those exact descriptions, the entire narrative shifted from domestic argument to cold, hard reality. Papoose was allegedly pawning items just to keep up appearances, and when the home front with Remy finally fractured, he needed a brand new financial lifeline. And he found it in the form of a hyper-focused, trusting boxing champion who was looking for someone to take her commercial value to the next level. Shortly after moving out of his marital residence, Papoose suddenly pops up fully integrated into Claressa's everyday life. He is living in her space, driving her high-end vehicles, wearing high-end chains, and managing her career calendar. But look closely at the details that surfaced during their public appearances. During one notable live stream, Papoose hands Claressa a shiny new chain for her birthday, presenting it as a grand gesture of his appreciation and investment in her happiness. But watch her real-time reaction in that video. She looks at the chain, looks at him with genuine confusion, and asks him straight to his face where his own personal chain went because it looked identical to the one he used to wear every single day. He stammers, deflects, and brushes it off, but the audience instantly caught the slip-up. He didn't go out and purchase a new piece of fine jewelry with his own money. He literally took his own existing asset, rewrapped it, handed it to her as a shiny new gift, and claimed it as a grand romantic gesture. And that wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of an ongoing pattern of staged affection designed to convince the public, and perhaps convince Claressa herself, that she was being pampered by a wealthy benefactor. Consider the infamous Christmas holiday shopping saga that set the internet on fire. Claressa went live on social media while walking through a high-end luxury retail store, personally purchasing designer luggage and high-value accessories with her own credit card. She showed the items, she stood at the register, and the paper receipt was briefly visible on camera. Fast forward just a few hours later, and suddenly a new video surfaces of Papoose handing her that exact same luxury duffel bag, wrapped up in a brand new store box, pretending he surprised her with a Christmas gift. She acted surprised on camera, trying to play along for the online narrative, completely forgetting that her fans had. When internet sleuths started connecting the dots and pointing out the obvious absurdity of buying your own holiday present, having your manager rewrap it, and then filming a fake reaction video to prove he provides for you, the damage control team went into overdrive. Suddenly, retail store owners were receiving urgent phone calls demanding that security footage and promotional clips from that day be deleted from public servers immediately. Why would anyone care so much about deleting harmless shopping footage, unless that footage exposed a massive lie? They wanted the proof gone because that video proved Papoose was actually spending his holiday elsewhere, while managing a fake publicity stunt to keep the public perception alive. But as we all know in the digital age, once something hits the internet, it lives forever, and Tasha K already had the digital files locked away in her archives, ready to be dropped alongside the federal tax filings. The desperation to hide that paper trail speaks volumes about the sheer panic happening behind closed doors, because the digital footprint doesn't care about PR spin or damage control. When you peel back the layers of that holiday fiasco, you realize it wasn't just an embarrassing social media fail. It was a microcosm of this entire relationship. It revealed a pattern where the athlete provides the actual financial capital, purchases the high-value goods, and then steps back to allow the manager to take credit for the lifestyle on camera. The internet was laughing at the absurdity of a multi-time world champion rewrapping her own designer bags. But the underlying reality is deeply tragic. You have a woman at the absolute pinnacle of human athletic achievement, someone who has dedicated her entire life to extreme discipline, sacrificing her body, cutting weight, enduring grueling training camps, and taking real physical damage in the ring, all while surrounded by people who view her bank account as a communal funding pool. And where was Papoose actually located while this elaborate shopping performance was being staged for the timeline? The receipts uncovered by Tasha K show that while Claressa was live streaming inside designer boutiques and staging fake gift exchanges, Papoose was actually spotted right back with his legal wife, Remy Ma, and their family. The security footage that the store owner was frantically pressured to delete was the smoking gun proving that Papoose had not cut ties with his past life at all. He was playing both sides of the fence, maintaining his presence in his marital home while simultaneously managing and living off the resources of a boxing superstar. The owner of that boutique received frantic phone calls in the middle of the night begging for the footage to be wiped clean from their cameras, but business owners don't purge their own surveillance footage over a simple misunderstanding. You only demand an immediate data wipe when the footage exposes a lie so massive that it threatens to collapse an entire financial operation. This brings us directly to the role of Remy Ma in this chaotic web of celebrity smoke and mirrors. For a long time, public perception framed Remy as the bitter ex-wife standing on the sidelines, throwing shade on social media and mocking the situation out of jealousy. But when you look at the legal filings, a far more calculating strategy comes into focus. Remember when Remy officially filed for divorce from Papoose, sending shockwaves through the hip-hop community? Everyone assumed that was the final nail in the coffin for their marriage. But then, almost as quickly as the paperwork was filed, Remy turned around and quietly withdrew the divorce petition. Why would a woman who publicly accused her husband of being broke, pawning her personal jewelry, and stepping outside of their marriage suddenly halt legal divorce proceedings? The answer is written directly into state property and tax laws, and Tasha K broke it down with mathematical precision. As long as Remy Ma remains legally married to Willie Mackey, aka Papoose, she maintains a direct legal claim and interest in his financial affairs, including any income, management fees, or assets he acquires through his business arrangements with Claressa Shields. But it gets even deeper and more financially urgent than simple marital property. Right now, public records reveal that Remy Ma is facing massive federal tax liens amounting to over $622,000. That is nearly two-thirds of $1,000,000 in back taxes owed directly to the United States government. When the IRS places a lien of that size on an individual, they don't just sit around waiting politely for a check. They garnish bank accounts, seize property, and freeze liquid assets until the debt is satisfied. So where is a couple facing combined federal tax liabilities that push well past the $1,000,000 mark, supposed to find the cash flow to satisfy Uncle Sam? They aren't getting it from record sales or streaming royalties in a modern music industry that pays fractions of a penny per stream. They aren't getting it from classic hip-hop nostalgia tours. They are looking for a high-yield, liquid revenue stream, a lick. In street parlance and industry slang, a lick is a target with massive earning potential, who lacks the financial sophistication to protect themselves from predatory structures. Claressa Shields, with her multi-million-dollar fight purses, her pay-per-view points, her crossover MMA deals, and her relentless work ethic, represents the ultimate liquid asset. She is the one physically getting in the ring, taking the punches, doing the 6-week fight camps with zero intimacy, cutting down 30 pounds of muscle, and bringing real hard currency through the door. When you connect the federal tax documents to Remy's sudden withdrawal of the divorce, the entire picture shifts from a trashy love triangle into a coordinated financial extraction mechanism. Tasha K asked the most brutal, blunt question of this entire saga. Who do you think is actually going to pay off that $600,000 tax lien? Is Papoose going to magically generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal revenue after failing to pay his own taxes for 13 straight years? Is Remy going to pay it out of pocket while her own assets are under government scrutiny? No, honey. The money to clear those government debts is structured to come right out of the management fees, promotional cuts, and advisory percentages stripped directly from Claressa Shields' fight purses. The tragic reality is that Claressa appears to believe she is part of an exclusive, romantic power dynamic, while in reality, she is operating as the primary funder for two people whose financial houses have been burning down for over a decade. Every time Claressa steps on the scale, every time she steps into the square circle and puts her undefeated record on the line, a significant percentage of that blood money flows directly into management accounts designed to service debts that were accumulated long before she ever met Papoose. When Remy Ma went on a live broadcast and repeatedly called Papoose by his legal government name, Willie Mackey, she wasn't just throwing jabs. She was deliberately dropping the key that unlocked the federal database. She gave the public the exact search term needed to pull up the 13 years of tax liens, knowing full well that under the stage name Papoose, those records were hidden behind corporate shells. And what did Papoose do when these federal documents were brought to light? He didn't issue a detailed financial audit. He didn't produce bank statements or cleared tax compliance letters showing he was in good standing with the government. Instead, the response was standard industry deflection, vague social media posts about loyalty, pictures wearing high-end designer clothes that may or may not be bought on credit, and heavy-handed speeches about supporting black female athletes. But buzzwords and emotional speeches cannot override a signed federal tax lien with a government seal stamped at the top. The math simply does not compute, and the deeper analysts dig into the contractual framework connecting Papoose to Claressa's career, the more alarming the structure appears. The $8 million deal that was touted as a historic milestone for female combat sports is looking less like a guaranteed payout and more like a high-risk credit facility. In the sports business, there is a massive difference between guaranteed purse money paid in liquid cash and structured credit guarantees that rely on future earnings and complex payback clauses. If a fighter is given access to an $8 million credit line, they aren't being handed $8 million to keep in the bank. They are being given permission to borrow against their future labor, with massive interest rates, management deductions, and legal liabilities attached to every single dollar spent. If the fighter wins, they pay back the credit line with interest out of their own purse, while the manager takes a comfortable percentage off the top. If the fighter loses or suffers a career-ending injury, the fighter remains legally liable for the debt, while the manager moves on to the next venture. This setup is designed so that the manager takes zero personal risk while using the athlete's physical body and future earning potential as the ultimate financial buffer. Claressa is out here risking her health and undefeated legacy inside the ring, while the people managing her contract have constructed a system where they collect fees regardless of the outcome. They have effectively placed a financial net over her career, ensuring that as long as she continues to fight, her hard-earned money flows upward to resolve tax liabilities, clear back debts, and maintain an illusion of wealth that crumbled years ago behind closed doors. When you analyze how this entire dynamic has played out publicly, the level of psychological manipulation is staggering. To keep an elite athlete locked into an arrangement like this, you have to keep them isolated from independent financial advice, wrapped in a narrative of us against the world, and convinced that every critic on the outside is just a hater trying to tear down black excellence. Every time a concerned fan, a fellow fighter, or an investigative reporter tries to warn Claressa about the obvious red flags, the immediate response from her camp is to attack the messenger. They frame legitimate financial scrutiny as jealousy, online hate, or bitter gossip, creating a protective bubble around her that makes it nearly impossible for hard truth to penetrate. Meanwhile, behind that carefully constructed wall of defensiveness, the paper trail continues to grow longer and more damning by the day. Tasha K's investigation exposed not just individual tax liens, but a systematic approach to financial evasion that spans over a decade. 13 years of unpaid federal taxes is not an accident or a minor oversight by an accountant. It represents a long-standing pattern of ignoring legal obligations, shifting assets between various corporate entities, and operating in the shadows until a fresh source of capital presents itself. When Willie Mackey entered Claressa Shields' professional world, he didn't leave that financial history behind. He brought every single dollar of that unresolved debt right along with him into her ecosystem. Look at the sheer contrast between the two individuals involved here. On one side you have Claressa Shields, a legendary athlete who built her entire career on absolute discipline, undeniable skill, and relentless work ethic. She is a woman who has represented her country on the world stage, brought home Olympic gold, shattered barriers in women's boxing, and transitioned into mixed martial arts with the same ferocious determination. She earned every single dollar in her account through blood, sweat, bruises, and sacrifices that most ordinary people cannot even fathom. On the other side, you have a manager operating with a trail of tax debts, pawn shop receipts, deleted security videos, and rewrapped luxury goods, using her platform to project an image of success that is completely disconnected from reality. The tragic irony of this entire saga is that Claressa genuinely believes she is surrounded by a team that has her best interests at heart. She posts the videos, defends the decisions, and wears the rewrapped gifts with pride, completely unaware of how the rest of the world sees the situation. She sees a devoted partner and business mentor who stepped in to take her career to new heights. The public sees a world-class fighter being systematically stripped of her wealth by people who view her as an emergency bailout package. The receipts are not just internet commentary. They are official government records, county filings, and verified paper trails that cannot be erased with a catchy headline or an angry Instagram rant. As these documents continue to circulate across the internet and pop culture media, the pressure on this entire operation is mounting rapidly. Promoters, corporate sponsors, and legitimate athletic management firms are taking notice of the chaos surrounding her camp. In the high-stakes world of sports entertainment, major brands and networks do not want to be associated with financial scandals involving federal tax liens, predatory credit structures, and public allegations of fraud. The very team that promised to elevate Claressa's commercial value to unprecedented levels may ultimately end up isolating her from the most lucrative mainstream opportunities available to a fighter of her legendary status. The reality of the situation is rapidly closing in, and the illusion is becoming harder and harder to maintain with each passing day. You can delete boutique security videos, you can turn off comments on social media posts, and you can give dramatic speeches about loyalty on live streams, but you cannot delete a federal tax lien from a government database. You cannot rewrite history when the paper trail has already been downloaded, archived, and analyzed by millions of people across the globe. The truth has a funny way of pushing its way to the surface, no matter how much money, effort, or PR spin is used to keep it buried underground. What we are witnessing right now is not just another temporary celebrity scandal that will blow over in a week or two. This is the gradual public collapse of a complex financial illusion that was built on top of an unsuspecting champion's hard work and dedication. The receipts have been laid out for everyone to see, the timeline has been established with mathematical accuracy, and the legal records speak with a clarity that no public relations campaign can ever undermine. The only remaining question is how long this situation can continue before the weight of these financial liabilities forces a complete and total reckoning inside Claressa Shields' inner circle. Whether she chooses to open her eyes to the paper trail right now or continues to defend the very people using her fight earnings to clear their own debts, one thing is absolutely certain. The narrative has permanently shifted. The world is no longer looking at an inspiring story of sports management and power moves. The world is watching a high-stakes financial drama play out in real time.